I'm going to talk about the sales figure. I'm going to talk about the sales figure. I'm going to talk about our product line. I'm going to talk about our product line. I'm going to talk about the new project. I'm going to talk about the new project. I'm going to talk about the sales strategy. I'm going to talk about the sales strategy. I'm going to talk about the proposed budget. I'm going to talk about the proposed budget. And I will just give you a summary. And I will just give you a summary. And I will only be providing an outline. And I will only be providing an outline. My talk will consist of 2 sections. My talk will consist of 2 sections. My talk will consist of 3 main parts. My talk will consist of 3 main parts. My talk will consist of 3 stages. My talk will consist of 3 stages. My talk will consist of 3 areas. My talk will consist of 3 areas. You can ask questions anytime. You can ask questions anytime. You can ask questions now. You can ask questions now. You can ask questions after my talk. You can ask questions after my talk. You can ask questions during my talk. You can ask questions during my talk. You can ask questions after the break. You can ask questions after the break. I will be talking for only 10 minutes. I will be talking for only 10 minutes. I will be talking for an hour or so. I will be talking for an hour or so. I will be talking for half an hour. I will be talking for half an hour. I will be talking for just a few minutes. I will be talking for just a few minutes. I'd like to start with a question. I'd like to start with a question. I'd like to start with this photo. I'd like to start with this photo. I'd like to start with the first item. I'd like to start with the first item.
What if you can double your profit? What if you can double your profit? What if we could live longer? What if we could live longer? What if your customers asked you this question? What if your customers asked you this question? Let's turn to the next item. Let's turn to the next item. Let's turn to the problem itself. Let's turn to the problem itself. Let's turn to the number. Let's turn to the number. Let's turn to our second quarter earnings. Let's turn to our second quarter earnings. Let's turn to our first competitor. Let's turn to our first competitor. I'd like to add that sales have fallen. I'd like to add that sales have fallen. I'd like to add that no one knows why. I'd like to add that no one knows why. I'd like to add that this was last year. I'd like to add that this was last year. I'd like to add that its future is uncertain. I'd like to add that its future is uncertain. I'd like to add that the device didn't work. I'd like to add that the device didn't work. On a side note, the results were amazing. On a side note, the results were amazing. On a side note, we finished on time. On a side note, we finished on time. On a side note, they did a great job. On a side note, they did a great job. On a side note, everyone had a good time. On a side note, everyone had a good time. Let's come back to the slide. Let's come back to the slide. Let's come back to the graph. Let's come back to the graph. Let's come back to the second issue. Let's come back to the second issue. Let's come back to the first point. Let's come back to the first point. Let's come back to what I was saying about the workforce. Let's come back to what I was saying about the workforce. As I said earlier, we need to act quickly. As I said earlier, we need to act quickly. As I said earlier, Europe is the key. As I said earlier, Europe is the key. As I said earlier, this year will be different. As I said earlier, this year will be different. As I said earlier, the company is in trouble. As I said earlier, the company is in trouble.
I want to stress this point. I want to stress this point.